David Bradbury, Head of the Tax Policy and Statistics in Division, the OECD Centre of Tax Policy and Administration. Good morning. Thanks for having this time with us.
Buenos dias. Good morning. Good to be with you.
What's the main conclusion about this report about taxing wage?
Yes. So what we do is, this is an annual report, and we've released the results for 2020, last year's results. And what we do is we have a look at the taxes on labour. And that includes personal income tax, it includes social contributions from both the employee and the employer, other payroll taxes, and we also take into account cash payments that go to workers. And looking at the results this year, we see across OECD countries that of the 37 countries, about 29 of those countries have seen taxes on labour decline, come down over the last year. And the OECD average has come down from about 35% to 34.6%. In Spain, we have seen there has been a slight reduction in our main indicator, which we call the tax wedge. That's the overall tax burden on labour incomes. And in Spain, from 2019 through to 2020, we saw that indicator drop from 39.4% to 39.3%.
How is the distribution of taxes in Spain, and what are the most important figures that in Spain have this report?
Yes, so the main indicator for Spain is the average tax wedge on a single worker. And in Spain, that fell by 0.1 percentage points. The only problem there is that the main reason that tax declined on the average worker is because the average wage also fell through 2020. Obviously, with the pandemic, we have seen for some workers their wages have fallen. And at the same time, because most personal income tax systems make you pay more as you earn more, if you're earning less, you pay less tax. So in Spain, for the average worker, the worker on the average income, they paid less tax in 2020, but that was mainly because their salaries or their wages had declined a little bit as well.
Could you compare the rest of countries versus Spain?
Yes, so Spain is slightly above the OECD average. So across the 37 countries that we measure in the OECD, Spain is above that average. But when you consider Spain compared to other countries in Europe, and in particular in Southern Europe, whether it be Italy, France, Portugal, Spain has lower levels of taxation on labour incomes than those other countries. So from a European, and in particularly a Southern European perspective, Spain scores quite well. But when compared to the OECD average and all 37 countries that we've measured in the OECD, Spain is above that average.
Do you have indicators about young people and marriage?
We don't have indicators that focus on young people, but we do have indicators that look at families with children. So we have a look at the single worker, that's a worker with no children, but then we also look at families where there might be one worker and two children, for example, or two workers and two children, just as an example. We've also seen in those categories, we have seen a reduction in the tax in Spain on average in 2020. So that is something that we've seen as well. Taxes coming down, not just for the single worker, but also workers that have families.
Congratulations for this report, David Bradbury, Head of Tax Policy and Statistics Division, OECD Centre of Tax Policy and Administration. Good day, very good business.
Good day.